So hi, my name is Mike Mean. I'm therapist at Entrada, and I've been with the company for over 5.5 years. 3 years as a field staff and 2.5 years as a therapist.
My name's Bree. I've been with Evoke for 9 months.
Hamilton, 9 months.
John Bernaducci, 2.5 months.
My name is Nathan Calopi. Was out in the field for about 1.5 years. Took about 4 months off. Just started working again now.
I'm Noah Schmelzer, almost 3 years.
I'm Red Hawk, 7 years.
I'm Kara. I've been with Evoke for almost 7 years. Serena Fulton, and almost a year.
My name is Rebecca, and I've been working here for 8 years.
Carter, going on 4 years.
Paul Harsha, about 6 months, 6.5 months.
My name's Clay, a month.
I'm Connor Ward. I've been with Evoke for on and off for I think around 6 years.
I worked at a previous program and I got really burnt out. When I was at that program, I don't think I realized why I was so burnt out. I felt like I just wasn't tough enough. I didn't have what it took, and I stayed for 3 years. And then coming to this program and seeing the way that we operate here and the way that they treat field staff here, I'm realizing now, like, my burnout was like really shitty ratios, like 2-on-10 with like tags and controls, and like P time was not a thing. Didn't exist. Paid vacation was not a thing. 2 people's rapport isn't enough. It's not enough attention to give. So like I felt like I gave every ounce of like love and energy I had to give, and then I didn't have any more, and then I still had to control the group.
I think when I've experienced burnout is when I haven't been taking care of myself enough out here. You spend all your time helping others and you didn't get to unpack your stuff, and that doesn't have to happen. Keeping it fresh, keeping it new, and not getting to the point where you're like, oh yeah, I've seen and done all this. Because once you get to that point, I think then it's time for you to go.
If I was doing a great job here at Evoke and was not setting goals back at home, I would experience burnout. There, that also could relate to here.
I don't get burnt out as a result of like specific groups or clients or students or the demands of the job. I think just the nature of the job itself, the fact that we go out into the field and we don't have communication or contact with loved ones, or it could be like a specific relationship, like an intimate relationship for a week at a time. I think that has been the most difficult and makes the field most difficult from week to week.
When there's not opportunity to for personal development, if it's just going in day after day and going through the same routine, and there's no opportunity for personal growth, that would contribute for sure.
I think what leads to burnout for me is not having anything to be excited about when going into the field. For me, like I was talking about, that organization can be like a big thing for me. And that looks like the gear that I bring out and my paperwork. The more organized I am, the more I feel like I can do it for longer.
I don't know, I haven't felt burnt out very often. Actually, for me, a big way to avoid it is to take time off before I get to that point. And that's something that they've supported me in doing.
A lot of times, therapists, we get, it's always talked about of us getting all the support. Yet field staff are dealing with this much more than we are, because they're dealing with it every day. They're hearing the stories, they're hearing all of that. And so, and even in my own experience, you hear so much tragedy and so much trauma that at times, without even knowing, there can be this wall that builds up where, like this thick skin, where at least myself, I recall I didn't cry for like 2 years. And then I stopped being a field instructor, and I was going to grad school, and I remember the first time I cried.
I think working as a team is really important to me, and it's something I really value about being out here. Is like, it's not just on one person, it's like all of us coming together with our own personalities and strengths and creative ideas, and like making this like really cohesive unit where we can make this like bigger thing happen There's like a pretty awesome understanding of what it's like in the field.
And that makes a huge difference in the work environment, like connecting with the people you work with and being like, all right, this is what we're going to do, and this is a challenge that we're facing, and trusting each other and building a real connection with the people that you work with.
A couple of my friends came out here and started working for this company and just told me about the experience that they were having. And immediately when they came out here, they talked about the community, and they talked about the relationships and the way that people were treating each other here.
I was shocked. My first week in the field, I got out of the truck and I was like covered in dirt. I was disgusting and smelly. And the owner, Rick, was barbecuing hamburgers and hot dogs outside, and went up to the truck before we could even get out. And as we're stepping out of the truck, hugged every one of us. And I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. This program, it feels like a family because it feels like they care. Yeah, it feels like home for me.
I appreciate the way that we're working in teams out here. I've never felt alone in the field, and that's been key in the hardest weeks. Everyone is so available. Our supervisors, all the way up through like our owners and program directors, are personally available to field staff as well.
To recognize I'm not alone, that's the ideal. That I'm not out here to solve problems on my own. It's to recognize there's also a support group back that I can get in touch with if I need to.
Something here that I appreciate is just the level of trust to like function autonomously, as well as a sense of community here, that like we have the space for these like authentic interpersonal relationships.
So I've been fortunate to have a friend and a close group of people here in St. George, and again with the company, that have been in this job for a long period of time, and they're passionate about this job. And so that helps. I find that the people that I surround myself with here in the company who appreciate it, that I kind of absorb some of that through osmosis.
Like at the Evoke community, we have a lot of like parties and get-togethers or pick up basketball or barbecues, and like going to those and being able to kind of like be in a shared space with people that are going through the same thing every week that I am, but had different experiences in different groups, and being able to like connect over those shared experiences and just having that community support is pretty big.
I appreciate being able to like bring my life into the field too. So if I'm had a really rough week the week before and I'm going into a shift, like I let my staff team know that, and I'm like, hey, this is where I'm at, and I'm not feeling like I have to hide behind what's going on for me, that, you know, it's okay for me to be wherever I'm at. The idea that if I really want to go learn something, I could promote that for myself. I want to stay for that reason. I think any time that I've been like triggered in the field, I've been able to talk to Mike and Dan about it. This was hard for whatever reason. I've never felt like it's me failing or me like not being good at my job or me being, I don't know, too sensitive or something. I've always felt like they're like, yeah, that's real. Being able to like let all of that out in the moment as it's happening, and that I feel like that's going to help me not be burnt out.
People can get sent out to help if something goes wrong or if we need extra help, and just not feeling like, all right, pal, see you later. You know, it's more of like, call us if you need support. And those things are often said to me, which is like a huge part of it.
I think their focus on P time, how I was taught about P time was, it's not an option. Like, take your time, because a lot of like new staff will come in and like, no, I'm good. And like, no, this is like required. This is something I'm passionate about, because having been on the other side as a field instructor, part of it, what I like to do is, you know, after session, I like to talk to the field staff. How are you doing in your development? And then how are you doing now in your personal life? What's this experience like for you? So they have that outlet that they can share. It's not about coming up with like unique interventions. It's about processing, you know, our feelings while we're in this job.
When I did need the space, I was able to go in weekly and talk with my direct supervisor in the field field director about how I was feeling, hear suggestions, and even when I wasn't there to necessarily hear suggestions, just to have a space where it didn't feel at all like taboo to essentially be talking about the fact that I might be coming to the end of my time here. I get the very distinct sense that they care about the staff as much as we do about the participants, the students.
The ratio of our staff to client, I think that provides space to address whatever behaviors the clients are doing in a way that's like therapeutic and intentional. We get paid well for this industry, we have full benefits, we have 401k, the ability for us to like seek out other trainings or go to conferences or certifications. So they're pushing us to like become more educated and bring that to the field.
There's always someone I can turn to, and unless I do something grossly negligent, which, you know, we have an understanding of what that means, that there's always someone else I can reach out to for help, whether I'm in the field or out of the field. And that takes a lot of the pressure that I feel from responsibility. Like, that creates longevity too. You know, when things went down and it was all up to me, I'm sure I could figure it out. But if there was that situation where I didn't want, hey, this decision is beyond my means of understanding, having somebody that I can be like, what do I do? And knowing that like the decision wasn't just me.
I feel like I have a lot of freedom and also the support to exercise that freedom. I don't feel like there's anyone looking over my shoulder, that there's trust in me.
You know, when I'm in the field, I feel like if anything were to ever come up for me where, you know, I did need space or did need a break, or I feel like I have the support. I have a whole team of people behind me that are here to support me, and that's been emphasized to me over and over again. And so when I'm out in the field, I do feel that way. I feel like at this program, I matter as a person. I'm not just like a number to plug into groups. I feel like they value who I am and what I bring.
I do think there's a genuine, promotion of us as individuals, as people, not only just as staff or as therapists, but as people. I've had the experience where I did not feel that in a very similar job. And so I can really value and appreciate it when I've seen it. A big part about it is them allowing me to be myself.
When I'm going back saying, okay, I made a difference. As a staff team, we made a difference. And then pointing that out to the other staff teams. Well, look what you just did. Look at the opportunity you give this person to see and to experience something they didn't have before. And you did that because of the uniqueness that you brought.
Something that the company does for me is that they make me feel like special. And I think maybe that's something that I felt at other places, but it was never spoken. And the fact that like I am unique and have something to offer.
I feel like out here I can be myself, like, and I'm not encouraged to like shy away from it. Like, I can be myself like wherever I'm at.
I think the feedback process, and the feedback process tied to not just in the field, also with the field directors as well as the therapists. Everyone in the company kind of knowing, what I'm bringing to the table, maybe what I'm struggling with. And so I just felt supported in multiple areas.
An aspect of feedback at this company that I appreciate is that they invite it at every level of the company. I can approach field director, assistant field directors. I can approach therapists or owners, program directors, and we can have a conversation about, hey, I noticed this thing.
Feedback comes more freely here. Something that's invited, and at the time, sometimes feedback is hard to hear, and it gives you an opportunity for change.
What brought me here and what has kept me here too is that our company is like fueled by the feedback process. We're constantly seeking to be better and like expand our awareness and like build our toolbox.
I came here because I knew that Evoke valued feedback and the feedback process, both in the field with the clients and between staff and between staff and directors. That looks like being able to approach any of the field directors and meet with them one-on-one if I feel like I have something that's on my mind. We get P time, like it's like an expectation that we can step away from the group, and that's not something that you're like asking for or feeling bad for. That's just like part of it, and that the company as a whole fosters like self-care as something that's really important. Other boundaries that I hold are like after Tuesday night, after we've eaten dinner, we stop talking about work. That's like an easy one to fall into, but I think it's really important. I think going to yoga and like having a slow Wednesday morning where I recognize that like transitioning from this world to that world is hard for me. It's always been hard for me, and it's emotional for whatever reason. And I think taking time to honor the fact that it is that way and that I experience it that way.
I think the big thing for me is going to be balance. I think that there's a lot of really exciting things happening out here, and also within the community. I want to hang out with everybody. I want to be at all the events. I want to be engaged in the community. And I think balancing that with kind of nurturing my own private time and just peaceful time to regroup and recollect myself so that I can come out to the field and really feel able to be here.
Part of what helped me get to the point where I could be open to and eager to go back into the field again now after the time off, in a lot of ways, was really me being willing to engage in my own work.
I love going to the spa. I treat myself a lot. And I think just living like creature comforts, because we live out of a backpack out here away from everything. And I think that indulging in those things that are what I think is luxury, you know? So yeah, and getting massages, because it's a lot of wear and tear on your body.
Being able to practice self-care, I think that's something that's emphasized a lot in this company that isn't emphasized in other companies. I think there is this understanding from the leadership here that has this ripple effect throughout the whole company that we are, you know, as individuals important, and our own self-care is a priority.
I think as therapists, we can do more of the, creating that space in the field while the stuff is going on. Phone calls, like one of the things I try to promote is for my staff, if you're struggling with stuff, it's okay to call me. I'm on call me. And some staff will. And they're like, I'm stressed, I'm trying to reach this client. And then, so I get to talk to them. And a lot of it is just me listening, having that outlet.
So when you come out to the field, there are the levels of staff, and in that week, it feels like you kind of have a set of mentors for the week. It'd be cool to maybe have that consistently, to be paired up with a staff member that even on off shifts that you can connect with and like, hey, I kind of had a question about this or that, or I thought about this a little bit more. Would there be a good time for us to meet up? I think I could do that with our field directors or like our leadership staff, but I don't know, that could be an interesting thought to play around with, having like a mentor or someone to go to outside of the field.
So we're out here and we're working 8 days a week, and I'm on. And I think something that has been hard for me is hearing about some of those things that we have to do during our time off, six days off. That's my free time, and like hearing that, like having work imposed on that time can really cut down my desirability of wanting to come back or wanting to go to work.
I think asking field instructors what they need maybe a bit more often could be helpful, because I think that's going to be different per individual. I think another big thing, I guess, for not getting burnout is not developing too quickly or encouraging people to do that. And I think that I've definitely worked with some people that were encouraged to start before they felt ready, and most of them ended up leaving a lot sooner than people that started when they felt like they were ready.